Hey there, I'm going to guide you through my full warm-up routine that you can use for any workout before you warm up to reduce injury. Start out warming up my shoulders. Here I want to use the cue of pointing my chest up towards the ceiling as I pull my shoulder blades together and squeeze my chest, going back and forth. I want to really activate those shoulder blades, squeezing backwards, as well as on this exercise of shoulder swings. Same thing, I'm really focusing on stabilizing my shoulders before mobilizing them upwards, up and down, trying to get full range of motion. Do 5 circles back and forth. You'll notice you'll have to turn your hand outwards as you go backwards, trying to get as far back as you can before completing the circle. Big circles, 5 back, 5 forward, really focusing on getting a wider range of motion each time you do it. Having shoulder mobility is really important, just so you get your full range of motion throughout the workout. And just taking these 5 to 8 minutes before you work out is super important. It's not a long time, and once you memorize the routine, it becomes automatic. Here I'm keeping my feet relatively facing forward and I'm just twisting. And you should feel your lower back being stretched here. This feels super good. Feel free to do it anytime you like. Now here I'm twisting my hip as well. And you could think about pointing your chest towards the back wall. With the leg swings, you actually want to think about just stabilizing your foot and rooting it into the ground before you even think about the pendulum movement of your leg. Think about the big toe, the little toe, and the heel, and keeping them all firmly on the ground as you swing forward and backwards. The second thing you think about is notice that I'm trying not to move my chest or core. The only thing that's moving is my hip as I'm stretching my hip flexors, hamstrings, and all up and down my leg. Same thing to the side, rooting that foot into the ground and just going straight outwards, abducting and over to the adduction. And this is really warming up those hip muscles, activating the glute medius. Here I'm kind of going backwards. I really should be going more to the side. But always, what's most important is keeping the core stable and keeping the foot rooted into the ground. Here I'm just making big circles with my knees, coming all the way out. Notice that my foot points externally. So my foot and knee should be pointing the same direction as I do these big hip circles. And I'm keeping the chest, my stomach area, pointed forward the whole time. So the only thing that's moving is my hip. My hip is becoming mobile and my core is stable. Here I'm keeping my chest upwards as I grab my knees. You don't want to bring your chest down towards your knees. Rather, you want to bring your knee up to your chest. This is stretching out your glute muscles. Right after I do those, I'm gonna go into high knees. Notice how one hand is in the back pocket and the other hand follows the contralateral knee. Walking back and forth, grabbing my ankles. So here I'm stretching out my quadriceps, my hip flexors, as well as my ankles. You can also pull backwards and get more range of motion, as you can see here. So what I'm doing is bringing my hip backwards and slightly flexing my knee. This increases the stretch on the hip flexor and quadricep. And if you're more advanced, you can just go right into these. You don't have to do the other style as much. And now I'm doing butt kicks. So we stretch and then we're going to activate fast. Activating the hamstrings here. Here I'm doing a calf and hamstring stretch. Make sure you're pulling your hips back before you reach down. So when you reach down, it shouldn't just be bending your back downwards. It should be shifting your hips back first. That's how you initiate the movement. You should feel this mostly in your hamstrings as opposed to your back. We'll follow that by high kicks. Try to keep your foot straight, and you should mostly feel this in your hamstrings. And these are lateral lunges, and I'm really working on stretching the leg that's straight, and the part that I'm stretching is the inside thigh part. So these are the hip adductors. And make sure to sit down. That's how you're really going to get the stretch. Don't just lean down, but actually sit your butt down towards the ground as you... I'm also pushing my elbow against the inside of my knee. Make sure my knee doesn't cave in. You come down to the ground here. Confused, I'm thinking about which stretch to do next. Here it's called rollovers. Now lean back. If you can, touch your feet back behind your head, but if that's too hard, just roll a bit. Opening up my knees, reaching forward. I like to do about 10 of these. Now there's certain days your back's going to be real tight and you're not going to want to go all the way back, so just listen to your body. Don't overdo anything that feels too much for you. Alright, well, if you like this video of the warm-up, check out my website. I have programs on how to work out, gain muscle, lose weight. Even programs on core stability if you've ever experienced back pain or just want to increase your athletic potential. So check out my website, sassoonfit.com, and thanks so much.